Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus. Today we're looking at living cells and creation. And if there's a creation, then there's a creator. So let's get started. We're using In the Beginning by Walt Brown as our discussion starter today. Thanks for being here. Do check out our other videos on this and so many other subjects, literally thousands. So let's jump in. Living cells contain thousands of different chemicals, some acidic, some basic. Many chemicals would react with others were it not for an intricate system of chemical barriers and buffers. If living things evolved, these barriers and buffers must have also evolved, but just the right time to prevent harmful chemical reactions. So it would have to be precise. And this is the reason some people even go into, it's a false theory, but I see where they're coming from, of theistic evolution, because they're like, evolution is so impossible. If it happened, it had to be God that did it that way. Now, it's totally different thinking process, and I've done videos on theistic evolution showing that God, it's totally contrary to Genesis 1, 2, and 3, and he did the most inefficient way, not the efficient cause, to do things, life and death over millions of years. But so it had to evolve just at the right time to prevent harmful chemical reactions. How could such precise, almost miraculous events have happened for each of millions of species? It's not happening just one time. It's happening many, many times. All living organisms are maintained by thousands of chemical pathways, each involving a long series of complex chemical reactions. For example, the clotting of blood, which involves 20 to 30 steps, is absolutely vital to healing a wound. So if you're missing any of those steps, however, clotting could be fatal if it happened inside the body. Omitting one of the many steps, inserting an unwanted step, or altering the timing of a step would probably cause death. If one thing goes wrong, all the earlier marvelous steps that worked flawlessly were in vain. Apparently, these complex pathways were created as an intricate, highly integrated system by God. And so, if it's 20 to 30 steps, man, incredible for the first 16 steps, but one goes awry, still doesn't work. So it had to have a creator. Now let's look at genetic distances. This is kind of interesting. Techniques now exist for measuring the degree of similarity between forms of life. These genetic distances are calculated by taking a specific protein and examining the sequence of its components. The fewer changes needed to convert a protein of one organism into the corresponding protein of another organism, supposedly the closer their relationship. Such comparisons can also be made between the genetic material of different organisms, such as DNA and RNA. These studies seriously contradict the theory of evolution. There is not a trace of evidence at the molecular level for the traditional evolutionary theories, such as simple sea life, which goes to fish, which goes to amphibians, which goes to reptiles, which goes to mammals. Each category of organism appears to be almost equally isolated. There's genetic walls there. One computer-based study using cytochrome C, a protein used in energy production, compared 47 different forms of life. If evolution happened, this study should have found that, for example. The rattlesnake was most closely related to other reptiles. Instead, based on this one protein, the rattlesnake was most similar to man. Since this study, experts have discovered hundreds of similar contradictions. Now, snake to man, I could see that man's sinful nature. But these computer simulations, and the more we know, the more evolution becomes impossible. Let's look up one more thing here too, genetic information. So the genetic information in each cell of the human body is roughly equivalent to a library of 4,000 books. Even if matter and life, perhaps a bacterium, somehow arose, the probability that mutations and natural selection produce this vast amount of information is essentially zero. It would be analogous to continuing the following procedure until 4,000 books were produced. Now here's the procedure. Start with a meaningful phrase, retype the phrase, but make some errors and insert some additional letters. Examine the new phrase to see if it's meaningful. If it is, replace the original phrase with it, and then return to step B, which is retype the phrase, but make some errors and insert some additional letters. To produce, now get this, just the enzymes in one organism require more than 10 to the 40,000th trials. So 10 to the 40,000th is a number. The visible universe only has less than 10 to the 80th numbers of atoms in it. So distinct impossibility for evolution to have happened. And that's just to produce the enzymes in one organism, not millions. We're going to look at DNA production and the intricate creation God used in that next. We'll do that in our next video. God bless you. Share with your friends. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.